Greetings and welcome to another episode of SPCA Stories. Hope you are all doing well. If you are new to us, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Dawn Fenton, SPCA Monterey County Content and Education Manager. We are coming to you from the SPCA Monterey County Claire Jacobson Learning Center in beautiful Salinas, California. My guest this time is Tiana McNair, one of our incredibly hardworking, compassionate animal care specialists. Tiana and her team tend to the needs of the animals in our care, from feeding and cleaning kennels to administering vaccinations and providing extra love for all pets available for adoption and behind the scenes awaiting their turn. Tiana is warm, kind, and funny and magnetic, and she clearly cares about the animals at the SPCA very deeply. She is quick to laugh and has a lovely outlook on the world. A quick note to our more sensitive listeners. This episode alludes to delicate subjects such as the need to surrender a beloved pet, humane euthanasia, and other sensitive topics, so please take care while listening. So, Tiana, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm so excited you're here. It's so nice to talk to you. What is your title?
I am an animal care specialist, which is part of our animal care team here at the SPCA.
How long have you been here?
Almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in August.
Wow. And how do you like it?
It has probably been one of my favorite jobs so far. Aside from, working with animals, but getting to know a lot of the people here has also been great. So,
yeah, it's really interesting. The people, of course, it's all about the animals, of course, but, there's something also about having really wonderful, compassionate people.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from the Central Valley. I was born in Modesto, but raised in Madera. And if you don't know where Madera is, because I do get that question a lot, like, I'm always like, do you know where Fresno is? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, 20 minutes from there. So literally the center of California.
Wow. So what brought you here? How'd you get here?
I went to CSUMB, for college. I started in 2015 and then graduated in 2020.
And you just stayed here.
Yeah, I've always loved the area. So when I was younger, my parents used to bring me out here. And I remember I was like 12 and I told them, I was like, if Monterey had a college, I'd love to go to school there. And then sure enough, when I was 16, 17 looking for schools, I saw that CSUMB existed and was like, I think I'm going to apply. And I ended up being one of the schools that I got into.
Yeah, so that worked out.
Absolutely.
And then you just stayed.
Yeah, I love the area. I'm a lizard. Don't get me wrong. I love the heat. But something about fresh air and, great air pollution, non-air pollution, because the valley is kind of notorious for that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So what did you study in school?
I got my degree in molecular biology.
Oh, that.
So I love science.
You love science. So did that come into play for you applying for jobs and looking for things to do? How did you get here to the SPCA?
That's a great question, because when people think of science, they think of like small, especially since it was like my concentration was molecular. They think, oh, small lab, like all the molecules. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's great. And I did enjoy, like genetics, microbiology, all of that. But I love the macro, right? And so I've always been an animal lover. And originally the plan was to go to vet school, and we're still thinking about that. But after graduation, I kind of took a year to figure out, like, do I want to go to vet school? Is that for me? Is it something that I would like to do long term? And so when I started applying to jobs, unfortunately, it was during COVID, so it was a little bit tougher.
Yes.
And I started applying in vet offices. And of course, there's a lot of no's, no's after no. And I did start to feel a little defeated, but
Wow.
I've got my first yes. December of 2020 and started in January of 21 at a vet office in Monterey working as a kennel assistant / CSR. Worked there. It was just a general practice for dogs and cats. I worked there for about 4-ish months and then kind of wanted to challenge myself because I've typically grown up with cats and dogs. And so after the 4 months there, I applied at the exotic clinic, also in Monterey, just down the road here. And I was mainly doing reception, but I got to do a little bit of work in the back and work with the vets there. And we saw all sorts of critters.
Sure.
And I worked there for about 2 years before making my way here to SPCA.
So did we cross paths with you there? Because I know a lot of our wildlife, when we have wildlife or exotics that needs a little something from a little something special, that's where we go. So we crossed paths with you?
Yes, we did. I used to see Josie and Jamie from the barn whenever they'd bring rabbits in, and that was always fun to see. And then definitely wildlife. One of our doctors there was really, really good with wildlife. So yeah.
That's amazing. So it all kind of comes full circle, right? You were inching closer and closer to us.
Yes, absolutely.
So one of the things I do is I like to give all the people I talk to, I like to give a compliment. You were like a bright light.
Oh.
You can really just tell that you're compassionate and that you work hard and that you care. It's hard to explain it, but you just give off this, you seem very approachable. You are very approachable. You don't seem approachable. You are. You're a bright light.
No.
And just, when I see you walking down the hallway and you're doing your thing, I'm like, okay, some animals are going to get some excellent care today because Tiana is on the job.
Thank you.
So,
that's very sweet.
I just wanted you to know.
I really appreciate that, especially when days feel a little gloomy. But can I give you a compliment?
Oh, this is new. Yes. Yes, give it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Miss Dawn, first off, your style, impeccable. Slay the house down every single time. And also your energy, whenever you walk into a room, I feel energized. Like I'm ready to take on the world. And I know my bestie partner in crime feels the same exact way. And we actually see you as like very inspirational. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
That means a lot. That means a lot to me. Okay, podcast over. No, I'm kidding. We're done. No, thank you for that. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Because we're all busy doing our own thing. And, I want to be that person who people can talk to, or, whatever I'm doing, I want people to ask me, so Dawn, what's crazy Dawn doing today? What's she doing with that camera? Where's she going or whatever?
Gosh, yeah.
So I appreciate that. And thank you. Thank you so much. So maybe I should create a podcast about my style. No.
Oh, we would take tips, honestly. Every single day. You're just on it. And we're like, wow.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I love clothing. That is a whole other podcast. Anyway, I could go on, but back to Tiana.
Okay.
So what were you like as a kid?
Oh, as a kid, I was a good kid. I know
that does not surprise me.
I know some people will say they were a good kid, and you're like, questionable. But I promise, I was a good kid. I was definitely into extracurricular activities. I was still shy. I think when I was younger, I was pretty shy and quiet, but I was also that kid. And this is like the contradiction is I was the kid that my parents would take on vacation, and I would make a friend and be like, oh, this is my friend, Jenny. And then they'd be like, okay, where's Jenny from? And then I would just tell them everything about the person. And for those next few hours or next day or two, I had made a friend in that moment. And then, of course, it'd be gone. But that's kind of the kid I was.
And I could see that. I mean, it makes sense, though, because you're so, I think people are drawn to you. And because of your kindness, it does not surprise me that you would want to know everything about a new person, and then go
Yeah.
tell everybody about them. So that does not shock me.
Yeah,
And that's cool.
I think it's one of my positive traits. I like to see the best in people, even though our world can be a little crazy at times. But that's something that I carried with me into adulthood. But yes, I was definitely like that as a kid who's like, I need to get to know you because people are just fascinating in general. And I feel like a lot of times, we don't take the time to get to know each other.
Yes.
And we're so quick to like just judge someone as much as we try not to, like, psychologically. It's your go-to is going to be to make assumptions about someone before you ever know them. And so it's like, yeah, we just take the time to like actually sit and chat about like, hey, what were you like in this area of your life? And like, what did you do when you did this? And that, like, we always say, how are you? And most of the time we get, oh, I'm good. And that's great. I hope everybody is actually doing well. But like, how are you? Did you eat today? Did you get a hug? Do you need a hug?
Right.
Like,
oh my gosh.
that's like, that's, I don't know. That's where my mind goes.
Tiana, everyone's going to want to adopt you. We're going to get like emails and no, you're so sweet. And it's so genuine. And yeah, you're charming. You're charming. Did you grow up with pets?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I did. So yes, as a kid, we'll go back there.
We're going back to childhood.
Childhood.
That's good.
I did. I can thank my mom because she was the animal enthusiast growing up. And so she was the kind of person who we always had a dog or cat when I was a kid. And she always did her best to like take care of stray animals too. And so she would bring them in, care for them in any way she knew how to, like even to a point where I think when I was like 4 or 5, we had a neighborhood peacock that would just visit our backyard.
So you had a neighborhood peacock?
Yeah, we had a neighborhood peacock.
Okay.
And I just remember looking outside into like the patio. My mom would just be sitting with it, hanging out. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, my mom, she definitely is the animal lover and kind of instilled that in me. And so as I got older and we moved to Madeira, we still had cats and dogs, but our little farm started to grow. And so it started off with like little parakeets. We had red-eared cider turtles, one that we still have to this day. His name is Timmy. When we moved out to the country by my sophomore year, we had like chickens and a horse at one point, an African gray. And so animals were definitely part of
wow.
the story.
So yes, you've always had them in your life.
Yes.
That's so great. So would you say, because you keep mentioning your mom, so would you consider her like a mentor? Or, I mean, it sounds like you have a special relationship.
I do love my mom for sure. And I'm actually the youngest out of my siblings. And so I think my mom and I spent a lot of time together growing up because I was also really sick as a kid. So, yeah, my immune system was just wasn't very good. So, she did spend a lot of time, taking me to doctor appointments and when I had extracurriculars, like making sure I was there on time and all of that. And so she was definitely, my mom in that sense. So,
she took care of you.
Yeah.
She nurtured you.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I'm sure, not maybe, I'm sure that's why, or a big reason why you're the big, kind-hearted person you are.
Yeah.
It's because you had that influence and that care. That's incredible. That is incredible. Let's talk about animal care. So tell me, when you meet somebody for the first time and you're having one of those conversations, getting to know someone, how do you describe your job? When someone says, so what do you do for work? How do you describe it?
That's always a fun question because I can go so many ways with this specific job. But I always start by saying I'm a behind the scenes busy bee. Like, we are constantly going. There's rarely a downtime where we're sitting or not moving. And when we do have those moments, I'm so thankful for them.
Sure.
But I always start by saying it's not very glamorous. Our mornings.
Yeah, I was going to say, take me through a day.
Okay, a typical day in animal care. We start our mornings with cleaning and feeding, and then we're usually done maybe 11 or so if we're not in our busy season, because it can take a little longer when the shelter is full. So once we're done with cleaning, by that afternoon, we have assigned tasks for the day, and those can vary from processing cats and dogs, so giving them a head-to-tail check, getting them up to date on our core vaccines and ID band, helping or doing behavior assessments, making animals available for adoption, and then, of course, we do have humane euthanasias that we do assist with, which is sad, but we understand that at times is necessary. So we do have our assigned tasks, but we do get called for other tasks as well.
Other duties as assigned.
Yes. So you could be in the middle of something and get called for a dog intro, or, hey, Scooby's getting adopted, so they need their vaccines up to date, and so we'll go do that. Or if a TNR or barn cat is getting picked up, then we'll go catch one of those kiddos. And so it really
it's a lot. It's a lot
on the go for sure.
So, I mean, it's a lot. And you said it's not glamorous, but I think it kind of is.
Really?
Because I think the animal care staff is so, like you said, you're so busy, but you are also like the front line. You have the most, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just from watching and kind of observing everybody, you guys are the ones who have almost the most contact with these animals, whether it's cleaning their cages repeatedly or that kind of thing, or you're feeding them, all those things.
Yeah.
So it's gotta be, I mean, you guys have to have the heart and in your, you see them, you have the most contact with them out of everybody, I think. I mean, so you're giving whatever you're giving off when you're caring for them, that's going to rub off on them, and that is going to make them better family members. The kindness that you're showing.
Yeah.
And so I do kind of think there's a little bit of glamour in that. Maybe not glamour, but it's important.
Yeah. From that perspective, absolutely. I always say not glamorous because at the end of the day, I go home with absolutely everything on me. So that's why I'm like, oh no, like my job is so fun. And it absolutely, we do get a lot of contact with the animals, and that's the best part of the job is being able to spend that time with them and bond. And bonding is a little bit dangerous sometimes.
Yes, I can imagine.
But I'm always like, no, I have to go home and change, and it's the whole thing. But yeah, no, I love the perspective that you have of our team, for sure.
You're lucky.
Yes.
I love my job. I love my job. And sometimes I'm like, ooh, I just want to go spend time with the animals today, but I'm busy doing something else, and that I have a deadline or something.
Yeah.
So so I envy you that, and it is important because we need the best people, and we have the best people, you included, that are giving those animals while they're between homes or in between situations or whatever it is, that you're giving them all of that love, and you're caring for them. And maybe before they got here, nobody was doing that.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for that. It's such an important part of this organization, of any animal shelter situation, are those wonderful people who have that frontline contact. So what's the best part of your job?
Just getting to hang out with the dogs sometimes. I feel like there isn't always the time to take them out to go on long walks or run with them or out in the play yards. But when I get the time to take out some of our dogs into the play yard and just run with them and, throw the ball for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's such an indescribable feeling, but it's
Oh.
like, it feels like a little piece of heaven, you know? Like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's what it's like.
Uh-huh.
It's just running with a dog. It's just hanging out with them and like those quiet times and those downtime of like, okay, let's go take a quiet moment and hang out and give you a breather because at the same time you're giving me a breather. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
that give and take in that moment of like, yeah, this is why I do what I do.
I was just thinking you have so much passion. And so what keeps you motivated?
It's honestly the animals. Every day I wake up and I know it sounds a little crazy, like, yeah, I do it for the animals. But I feel like in animal care, you do have to be intrinsically motivated,
Mhm.
because there are going to be days that are really hard and people aren't going to say thank you. And, you're going to have to just wake up and do the job.
Mhm.
And, you know, you can give yourself that pep talk and be like, you got this, you can do this. But really, it's knowing that I'm coming to work to help the animals who may not have had a good home before this or,
Mhm.
may have been strays and wandering the roads alone and getting to see their progress as we care for them is amazing. Like
Mhm.
that is the thing that motivates me for this job is, we might get a super fearful shutdown dog that comes in and they're in our care for weeks, right? And with the help of our animal care team and our behavior team, you just see them blossom into this beautiful creature that you know that they always could have been.
Mm.
And not me gonna cry right now.
It's beautiful. Everything you're saying it's beautiful. Because I was on the flip side, I was gonna ask you, what's the hardest part about your job?
Oh my gosh. There's a few parts that are really hard. It kind of goes hand in hand is when you see them come in not in the best care, and like you don't know their history and
Mhm.
they're fearful of loud noises or flinching or just in not the best shape.
Mhm.
And that's always hard because you look at them and like I said, animals are just such selfless creatures. You look into their eyes and yes, they're still animals. They have instincts, but they're so full of love and
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. And so when they do come in that condition, it can be really hard.
Mhm.
But then you kind of have to go from there and
Yeah.
remind yourself why you do the job,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So
So I want to throw in here because I ask these questions because I want people to listen to these podcasts
mhm,
and just really remember, or maybe realize, but remember that the people that do the work are people,
mhm,
and we all have feelings and we all have various responsibilities within the organization, and it can be an emotional place. We
absolutely.
have good and bad days. We have great and horrible days.
Mhm,
And I would love for the outside world to really think about that
mhm.
when they have to, come here for whatever reason, or, I want to make sure people do say thank you to you.
Yeah.
That's a huge motivation behind doing this podcast for our organization and for other organizations.
Yeah.
The people do the work, and we want good people and happy people, and we know it's hard work, and we we need you. And so I want to make sure that people, or at least take a step in the direction of people go, wow, okay, I'm going to think about the way I ask a question or,
Mhm.
deal with a situation, because I know there are people who with real feelings,
Yes.
and invested people who do the work.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, absolutely. That's a huge motivator for doing this. And I hope, hello out there, I hope that, they're taking that in. And
Yeah.
it's also fantastic to learn about you. It really is. So, yeah, I want to make sure you are thanked. And I'm kind of in the same neighborhood.
Mhm.
because we don't always have banner days, sometimes it's ups and downs and all the things. How do you take care of yourself?
Oh, yes. That's a great question, actually.
Yeah, it's self-care. How do you kind of separate, because it's a job for your heart.
Yeah.
We are all come in with full hearts and so what do you do?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to do self-care at work. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
That's a tough one. And it's hard sometimes not to take work home with you, especially when you work with the animals so closely. So that's something that I've had to really manage, especially working here, is not taking some of those emotions, those big emotions with me when I leave work. When I'm on campus, honestly, my coworkers are definitely a big support when it comes to, hey, I'm just having a really bad day. Everything is not going well and I don't know what to do. And they are, like you said, some of the most compassionate people who, when I'm having a tough day, remind me, hey, Tiana, why are you doing this again? Why are we here? And I'm like, oh, you're right. We all absolutely love animals and we want to provide the best care we can to them while they're here with us. Because I think, sometimes we do see them as our own pets until they find their forever home. And although we try not to get attached in that sense, it happens. And we kind of have to go with that,
Right.
But when I'm not on campus, I like to run. I started running within the last year, which is not something I ever expected.
Good for you.
So we put that on our list of self-care. I do like art, so I paint. I like to read. Music is always helpful. And then I do knit every now and then. But yeah, I'd like to stay active. And on my days off, especially, I try to not be as connected to my phone. So I love a good little coffee shop and read for a couple hours, go to the beach, collect shells, all of that. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's important to find those things that can, keep your spirits going and just, separate, because, compassion fatigue. And I think I've said this in every podcast so far. It's a real thing.
Absolutely.
And good people with big hearts, that's who does the work. And if you don't separate yourself or find a healthy way to, balance yourself out, that's when we lose good people because they're done. So yes, I'm so glad that you have such appropriate for you too. I'm like, oh, she does creative, pretty things. Of course she does. So that is wonderful. So what about the SPCA as a whole? What inspires you?
I would say our many departments, first off. When I talk about the people at the SPCA, it's not just in my specific area, animal care. I think right before I even stepped in here, I was talking to my coworker and I told her, when I look at the team dynamics at the SPCA, doesn't matter what department, I just love how well everyone fits together. And it's really nice to see because you don't always see that.
Yeah.
And, from HI to barn to admin, I love them all. I absolutely do. And so getting to know everybody and everybody else's background, and just seeing how many people do have such big hearts for animals and what we are able to do for them is what inspires me.
So let's say there's somebody out there who is thinking about a career change, or maybe they're in school and they love animals and they're listening to this and they're like, wow, that sounds like a really amazing job. What advice would you give to someone who's like, how did you get, how do I get where you are?
Because sometimes I feel like such a small part in this world, right? And so if someone's asking for my advice, I'm always like, I'm not an expert.
Well, you're not and that's another thing is you are a huge part of this organization. Again, we're here for the animals and animal care frontline, like I had said earlier. So yeah, so what are some pearls of wisdom or how do you start? How did you get this job? How do you start? That kind of thing.
I guess I should start with saying, remember your why, which I've mentioned to you before, right?
Yes. Let's talk. Yes. Tell me more, sister.
So we always get caught up on what's my purpose? What's the purpose of life? What is the purpose of anything? And when you put purpose into the sentence, it makes it feel like there is only one right answer, one right path, and you have to follow that. When you put it in the perspective of, well, why? What is my why? It's kind of like, a kid questioning things like, Mom, why do we do this? Why do you do that? And it leaves it open for exploration. You can sit with it and not feel so rigid in the question of why, because you're always going to ask why. At least that's my hope, to stay curious, to wonder why anything is the way it is and how we can make improvements to that. And so I'd say start with your why. Why do you want to be in animal care? Why do you want to work with animals? Well, if your answer is, well, I really love animals and I want to help them in any way I possibly can, great. That's an awesome start. And we can go from there, because we can start with animal care. But if there's something else that is in the animal field that you want to do, absolutely go for it. Life is at times feels so short. And I think that we shouldn't be afraid to take those risks and make those changes, as terrifying as they can be. Like, some of the best outcomes come from when you're scared. And if it scares you just a little bit, you're on the right path, as long as you're doing it for you. So I'd say we start there. And, if you're in a field or a job or career, anything like that, never be afraid to change that. It's, like, you don't have to stay in one box forever, because anybody is absolutely capable of anything if they put their mind to it. So.
Who do you talk to when you feel stuck? Do you have someone here on your team that, when you need to talk things out? Do you have somebody who's a mentor or some,
Yeah, I feel like Ben, who's our shelter manager, does a really good job at being open and approachable about anything that we have questions about. I know I'm like, hey, why do we do this? Or why did this decision get made? And he does a really great job at, making sure that we feel heard and seen. And sometimes we tell him he's scary. I promise he's not. There's 3 of us on the team that startle really easily, so that's not on him. But yeah, I'd say he does a really good job at especially reminding us about compassion fatigue, and we'll be the first one to say, if you're not at work, don't look at your work email. If you need that time, please take your time, because he understands. I think he's done so many jobs here at the SPCA, right?
He has.
So
he has.
He understands the work that goes into it for sure.
Is there something that nobody here knows about you that you'd like to reveal?
Oh my gosh. That's so funny, because I feel I do feel sometimes a little box of surprises. Because I feel yes, I do come off very quiet and just mellow. So I think when I tell people what I've done in my past, it can be surprising. So I'll give you a few.
Okay.
That would
perfect
juxtapose my introvertedness. You wouldn't think that I'd be up for any of it. Um,
Bring it.
All right. So in high school, I did cheer and dance for 4 years. So I'm a little peppy because of that.
I love that. I love that.
So that's part of my story. When I was an undergrad and a part of our RHA program, in my last year, I was an MC for open mic night.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to keep bringing this side of you out.
Okay.
Tiana, we're going to keep bringing this out. So
Yeah.
I've got some plans for you.
Okay, perfect. So that one throws people off because they're like, but you're like in front of people on stage. And I was like, yeah, no, like I asked because I wanted to challenge myself. I said, hey, can I MC our open mic night? And trust me, I was a nervous wreck the first time. I was like shaking like a leaf. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to speak into a microphone. But once, when I started MCing, it built that connection with our student body that was like amazing. Like, I think we started having more people show up for the event and like more people got involved. There were more like acts that went on and it was just so awesome to see. And so after that first night, I was like, okay, I can do this. So I got a little bit more comfortable and that was really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you again so much for all of the work that you do and all of that light you bring to your team and to us here. And we're so lucky to have you.
Thank you.
On the team. The animals are lucky to have you caring for them. And thank you for your time today.
Oh, no. Thank you for having me. This was really fun. So, yay.
Thank you all for tuning in. We would love to hear from you. If you have questions or just want to say hello, you can drop me an email at dfenton@spcamc.org. You can find more information about all of the programs and services we provide at our website, spcamc.org. A tremendous thank you to all SPCA staff, volunteers, and board of directors. And of course, a heartfelt thank you to our generous supporters. We at SPCA Monterey County could not do what we do for the animals and people in our community without you. If you would like to support us, and that would be awesome, you can find that information at spcamc.org. If you are so inclined, please drop a like or give us a rating on whatever platform you listen in on. We strive to continue our reach far and wide, and those ratings absolutely help us out. Dawn Fenton here, signing off until next time. Much unconditional love to you and your pets from all of us here at SPCA Monterey County.